Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, whether you're tuning in on the radio dial in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM. We welcome you all back to our program, as well as joining us through our online affiliates around the world. We're glad that you all could be with us as well. This next segment is really a family affair. We're excited to welcome mother and daughter team Danielle Gray, as well as Denise Byers, to our program today. They have written and illustrated a great book that is not only an award-winning children's book, but a book that we adults can learn from as well. The book is called Princess Lydia and the Fire-Breathing Dragon. Denise is the author of the book. Her daughter Danielle illustrated it. We'll talk to them individually about what it's been like for them to see the response to the book, the messages that Denise is able to share in the book, but also how all of us, regardless of what age we might be, can be able to learn about the way that we treat individuals as well as the way that we see ourselves. Now, if you're just not hearing about the book Princess Lydia and the Fire-Breathing Dragon, we'll tell you at the end of our segment how you can get your own copy. But Denise, Danielle, hello to you and welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you. We're glad to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
I'm excited to be able to have the two of you on. Denise, I want to start with you. I mean, the response to this book was really immediate when it was released. I mean, what has it been like for you even today to be able to see the way that people are responding to the book and the messages you have in it?
It's really exciting because we did release the first edition about 6 years ago, or 5 or 6 years ago, and it's starting to really pick up again, momentum. And I think it's just because we live in some pretty dark times, in my opinion. There's a lot of political strife going on, and we're seeing riots in the streets and such. And the messages in the book are, you know, like you said, meant for children so they can build character and develop coping mechanisms to everything, that all this negativity that's going on around them. But I think the adults reading it as well can learn something as well. So it's been really interesting to see it kind of, you know, it came out really quickly and did well, and then, you know, it plateaued, and now it's really, really picking up speed again. So it's been very exciting for us.
Well, I think the big thing for me is that, you know, the book has a timeless message, Denise, for sure. I mean, Danielle, what about for you? I mean, what was it like for you? I mean, I should say, I first heard about this book now. It's hard to believe. It's been almost, as you were saying, Denise, almost 5 years ago. You guys won the Character Building Award, and I had a chance, of course, to read the book back then. And then, as you said, the messages continue to spread. So, Danielle, what has it been like for you to see the way that people are responding to the book?
It's really great. There's a lot of kids wanting to draw their own photos, like of the from the book, and just being able to relate to it because of the picture and word association, and just seeing the kids all out there just being inspired by it, by the kindness of the book. It just really touched my heart.
Yeah. Now, Danielle, as I mentioned, you are the illustrator of the book. What was it like for you to work with your mom on bringing this book to life?
It was interesting, and it was really fun, actually. I had to draw like a 7-year-old, so it brought out the kid in me.
Yeah, yeah. And, Denise, what was it like for you to have Danielle working side by side with you on this? I mean, to have your words kind of be married with her pictures.
It was really interesting because she basically took my words. I wrote the story, and I just handed it off to her and said, okay, just graphically interpret this. Draw it as you see it. And we did a few test versions. We did some graphic arts and her little bit higher-end art, and the kids weren't really responding. And then when I said, you know what, just draw like you're 7 years old like they are, and when they responded to that, it really did touch us. But it was interesting to see my daughter go back in time and be that 7-year-old and draw that way again. And the way she interpreted my words was just right on the money. And I was a very proud parent because I thought, wow, you know, the messages in this book are the same messages that I instilled in my children. Danielle is 30 years old today. She just turned 30 last week, actually. And the messages in the book are the same that I instilled in them, you know, communication, compassion, you know, acceptance, not just tolerance of people. getting to know people and giving them a chance. And, the anti-bullying kind of messages in there. Danielle was bullied as a child. She wore glasses. She's vision impaired, just like Princess Lydia, sort of based on her. And just to see her kind of relive that was a little bit painful at times, but at the same time uplifting, because I knew that the messages were going to be communicated even better through her illustrations, because it really is word-picture association. If you can't read, you can understand this book. So it was really, really touching to see that my messages that I instilled as a parent really got through to my kids, and then it gave me hope that would happen with other children.
For sure. I want to stick with you for a moment, Denise, because the other thing that you were able to do that I think people can learn from is that there are so many people who wait for other people to help bring their words to life or to help them share a message. You started DanDeeLion Publishing to be able to make sure that the book had a home and was able to do that. Why was that important for you to do, not to wait on someone else to pick your book up and to publish it? Why was it important for you to kind of take the responsibility on yourself to make sure the book got out there?
Well, I just really believed in our messages, and I didn't want to wait around for somebody else to believe in them as strongly as I did or Danielle and I did. I really wanted them out there, and I thought they were, universal messages of love and peace, and I thought they were much needed, and I just thought there wasn't time to waste. I think kids needed these messages now. I still think they need them now. Bullying is still prevalent, but when we first wrote the book, it was even more prevalent, at least in the media. And I thought, we just don't have time to wait. Kids need these messages now, and adults also need a way to teach their children these messages. And some adults just don't have the tools, and that's not a judgment. That's just a reality. Some parents are really, they're just baffled by, why their child is being bullied, and they don't know how to help them and get them out of it. Or some parents are parents of bullies, and they don't understand why. And they needed some education themselves on how to sort of teach their children to be more accepting and loving and compassionate and communicative. And we wanted to keep control of those messages as well, rather than have some other publishing house come in and edit them down to what they thought they should be and commercialize it a little bit more possibly, because we were confident in what we had to say. So that's basically why we started DanDeeLion Publishing, was to sort of control our own messaging.
Yeah. I want to talk to Danielle about that confidence and how she's been able to display it in life, especially through social media as well. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome mother and daughter team Denise Byers as well as Danielle Gray to our program today. Author Denise Byers has been able to write the book Princess Lydia and the Fire-Breathing Dragon. Her daughter Danielle illustrated the book. It's available now through our friends at Amazon.com. We'll remind you of that throughout this segment. Danielle, have you gotten used to the idea that you have a book that you illustrated, that you've been able to be a part of, that's available for the world to be able to read and enjoy?
I don't think you ever really get used to the idea. It just kind of surprises you every time. You just kind of look on the internet and you see it, or you're in a bookstore and you see it. It's shocking and amazing.
Yeah. Your mother talked about the confidence that she hopes the message of the book is able to bring. I mean, you have been able to display your confidence, Danielle, especially I've noticed in your posts on social media. What has it been like for you to have that platform on the internet, to be able to share pieces of yourself and to be able to inspire people along the way?
I think that it's really nice and it's really good. I like to show people empowering. I would like to empower people and show them resistance in anything that they do, and just that everybody just should keep going.
Yeah, I
think that's it.
Better. And I think that's the big thing.
It does get better, and I think that's an important thing that Danielle learned, that growing up, and that's what she's trying to communicate through our posts. We don't shove the book down people's throats on our social media network, but more of our messages.
Right. and those messages are definitely important for sure. And I think the other thing that's important, Denise, is that, you've been able to show people by example what is possible. It takes a lot of courage, though, to be able to do what you all have done. What do you think keeps you inspired, Denise? What is it that keeps you moving forward?
Absolutely my love of children. I had two real big dreams growing up, and I can remember being very young, and one of them was to have children of my own, and at one point I was told I would have to adopt, which I didn't, but I was more than happy to. And the other was to write books for children, because I just loved reading so much. And that's what keeps me going. I just want to keep entertaining children while educating them and empowering them. We often use the hashtag or the term edutainment, and that's what really keeps me going. And the response to the book, and not just our book, but the response to other books that we promote that we didn't publish, but we really align with the messages. And we try and support other authors that have the same sort of outlook as we do, and just to promote them and give them a platform. Just anything that gets the positive messages out there, we want to support. Whether we're going to benefit from that, like financially or not, that's really irrelevant to us. What's relevant is that these children are taught to hate. It's not in them innately. They are not born to hate. It's something that is taught, and it's something that we're seeing, and we want to eradicate that. It's not good. Slowly, we're hoping it dissipates, but eventually I know it's a Pollyanna kind of view, but we do. We want to eradicate that hatred. So it's really important to keep going. And get these messages out there, whether they're ours or they're by somebody else. But it's really important to me to keep going.
Right. Danielle, I was going to ask you the same question. What is it that keeps you inspired? What is it that keeps you motivated as you're going through? And not only, of course, being able to do the work that you do as an artist and illustrator, but just in life.
Just all the research that I find online, I really like to keep updated on that stuff, just seeing how the world is right now and changing it. I just would like to see children in a different kind of environment to be able to express themselves and be different, and for all of us to just kind of respect each other. And I hope that we can do that.
Right. And I think that is the big thing, and I think it's a great thing for all of us to be able to keep in mind for sure. Denise, I mentioned the Internet, and of course, we are bombarded with so much stuff. You have been able to, your daughter, Danielle, has been able to kind of cut through that and being able to share great things. As you mentioned, not only, of course, about the work that you're doing, but also others. Talk to us about the response. And, Danielle, I'll ask you a similar question. What is it like for you to hear from people about how they are inspired by what you've been able to do and the messages you've been able to share, Denise?
It actually inspires me to keep going and keep sharing and to delve deeper. And, just to keep going, just tearing away those layers and never give up. Like Danielle said, we want to see children in better environments. We want to see people of every age accept themselves and, as Danielle said, express themselves in the way they want to, without judgment, without ridicule, without hatred. And I think that's what really, really keeps me going. And I have to say, Danielle has to take the credit for the content you see on our social media sites. She's in charge of that, and I think she does a fantastic job of weeding through. There's so much out there, as you said, and she weeds through it, and she finds that positivity. And I don't know how she does it, quite frankly, but I'm so proud of her that she does, because I think she represents DanDeeLion Publishing extremely well. But it's just inspiring to see other people do share the same values as we do. So all hope is not lost, and that to me is so important.
It is. It is so important. So, Danielle, a similar question for you. When you do see people respond to your posts, when you do see people, being able to be inspired by what you're sharing, how does that make you feel?
It keeps me going. I feel inspired by them. And I feel accepted, and I feel grateful that people feel the same way and are really loving the book.
Yeah. So I guess an obvious question would be, Denise, is the what's next? I mean, you have formed DanDeeLion Publishing. You've seen the response to the book that we mentioned here, Princess Lydia and the Fire-Breathing Dragon. When you did that particular book, did you see that as the end of Princess Lydia's journey, or can we expect to see her again?
You're going to see her again, and you're going to see our fire-breathing dragon again and his family and some of the things that he encounters and they encounter. We also have another book coming out called Dancing on Wheels, which features a young, again with the princess theme, you know, because so many little girls want to be princesses. And we want to get away from, not that I don't love Disney, because I do, but we want to get away from that Disney stereotype of that perfect body, that Barbie doll, and again, I love Barbie, but that Barbie doll image and that perfection image, because I was taught that practice makes better. Practice does not make perfect, because perfect just does not exist. And to have that, to think that way just leads to disappointment. So another book you're going to see coming up soon is called Dancing on Wheels, and it's a little princess who goes to tea with the queen and then a whole bunch of other princesses from other kingdoms, and she's in a wheelchair. And she dances in her wheelchair. So it's Dancing on Wheels, and we show the response that she gets, which I think people will find quite interesting. A lot of people will find it quite normal, like, yep, that's how I'd react too. But in the end, you'll see how she responds to how other people respond to her, and it's going to be interesting and empowering. And we also have a book coming out that's going to be a coloring book, actually, and it's going to be more interesting to Canadians, to be quite frank. It's our 150th birthday this year, and this book will be coming in toward the end of the year, just ushering out our bicentennial. And it's going to just be a book about pride of being Canadian, about the attributes of Canada, but it's also going to be a fun read and a fun coloring book for probably adults, but I think kids, like even young teens, will probably appreciate some of the concepts. It'll be like some abstract things like our universal healthcare system, right down to our maple syrup. So we're going off in different directions, but, you know, it's all about taking pride in oneself and, you know, where you come from and trying to make that better, your environment better. You know, whether it's your environment in your home or your local community or your entire country. We just want to always send out positive messages on how you can be a part of changing the world and making this a more positive place. And maybe, you know, one day I probably won't see it, Cyrus, but hopefully my great-grandchildren will see it. Peace. You know, peace around the world. You know, that's our aim. And I think if we just keep putting those messages out repeatedly, eventually enough people are going to start rallying around and say, enough is enough. Things have to change.
Exactly. I think that's it. And what a great thing to be able to think about. So, Danielle, I want to ask you, as we're wrapping up this segment, what advice do you have for people out there, no matter what age they are? I mean, because as we were talking about earlier, this is a journey that your mom and you have been on now for a few years, being able to share the message of Princess Lydia and to be able to work to share these great themes. What advice do you give to anybody out there with a goal and dream about the importance of not giving up on themselves?
I think that they should speak up, that they should keep going. I think if you fall down, you have to dust yourself off. You just have to keep remembering that you're stronger than you think you are, and that we're all amazing in different ways, and we need to look at ourselves like that, and we're all beautiful in our different ways, and people need to look at themselves like that also, and we're all intelligent in our own ways. And I think that if you love yourself first, then it goes a long way for the rest of the world. And if you're open to love, I think that's an amazing thing. And I just want people to realize that they are resistant.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing. And Denise, for yourself, I mean, considering all that you've been able to accomplish as well, I mean, what advice do you normally give to people about the importance of not giving up on themselves and believing in themselves?
I get a lot of parents asking me for parenting advice because I get a lot of compliments on my kids. I have 3 children, adults now. My baby just turned 24, so I have a 30-year-old, a 28-year-old, and a 24-year-old. And they're all very well respected, and I take such pride in that. But I don't think they're close to perfect, like too close to perfect. I think there's always room for improvement. But I think people have to realize that, like stop expecting perfection from your kids because it's never going to happen. It's going to lead to disappointment. And all you can do is arm them with the best tools you can possibly give them and send them on that school bus for kindergarten. I followed the school bus to school to make sure the driver was okay. But, just arm them with as much character-building messages and coping mechanisms as you can because the world is a very, very harsh place, and they learn it from a very young age. And you may not really realize it, but I remember when my kids were in daycare and a little girl saying to, my daughter, "Oh, I'm wearing Oshkosh Bagosh. What are you wearing?" And she was 4. And I'm thinking, oh, my goodness, it's starting already. So I think, I just want parents to know that regardless of your economic status or your socioeconomic status in the world or your community, you do have things to give your children. It doesn't have to cost you money. You've got your own lessons that you've learned in life. I think you should share them. Sometimes there's scary things that have happened to you, but I think things can be communicated in an age-appropriate way. And I believe that when children are old enough to ask certain questions, they're old enough to hear the answers, as long as it's done in an age-appropriate way. And I think knowing that you survived it, or your friend did, or your neighbor did, or whatever the case may be, will let them know that, you know what, I can be resilient. I can get through this too. But I think arming them with the best messages you can is the best thing you could possibly do for your child.
I think that's a great reminder for all of us. And to remember, too, that you're never too young to make a difference. And I think one thing that people will take away from the book, Princess Lydia and the Fire-Breathing Dragon, is that, no matter what age you might be or how you may see yourself, there are people you can help, and there are lessons that you can help others to learn. And I think that is the great thing for sure. Again, everyone, Denise Byers and Danielle Gray have been our guests. They're a mother and daughter team that have worked together to bring us the book we've been discussing here, Princess Lydia and the Fire-Breathing Dragon. It's available at a very reasonable price through our friends at Amazon.com, both in print as well as in Kindle. So make sure you all head over to Amazon.com. We'll be posting the link for those joining us online, so you all can just click on it from there and be able to get your own copy. And Denise, I'll start with you. How can our audience stay connected with you and keep up with what's coming up next for you?
Well, our website is under construction, but it is www.DanDeelionPublishing.com. And DanDeeLion is D-A-N-D-E-E. It's sort of Dan for Danielle and D for Denise. So it's DanDeelionPublishing.com. We're also on Facebook really, really heavily because our website's not, we're redoing it. So it's facebook.com/DanDeeLionPublishing. And we're on Twitter at DanDeeLion1 and Instagram at DanDeeLion1. Also, if people want autographed copies of the book, they can feel free to email me or Danielle directly. I am Denise Byers, and that last name is B-Y-E-R-S, at DanDeelionPublishing.com. And Danielle is Danielle Gray, Gray, at DanDeeLion.com. And we'd be happy to autograph a book for your young one, inscribe it if you'd like. We also would be willing to donate to your local school organization or library in you or your child's name. We're happy to do that. We do a lot of donations. So they can contact us through all of those means.
All right. So make sure you're definitely staying connected with the work that DanDeeLion is doing for sure. Denise, Danielle, thank you all so much. I think this is your first radio interview together, right?
It is our first one together. It's exciting. It just brings that mother and daughter team experience even to a higher pinnacle. It's been exciting, and we have to say, Cyrus, we owe so much of our success to you. You have been supportive of us and this book since the very beginning, and honestly, the two of us just cannot thank you enough. You've really helped bring the messages of Princess Lydia and what we're trying to achieve to the masses. So thank you so much. We're eternally grateful.
Well, look, I appreciate the two of you for your support of Conversations. It means a lot to me, all the retweets and posts. It means a lot from me as well. So thanks to the two of you again. Again, everyone, Denise Byers, Danielle Gray, congratulations to you all on the success of this book. We know that there's more to come, and looking forward to our next conversation together.
Great. Thank you so much, Cyrus.
Hey, thank you. And we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. If you all came in late, you missed part of the conversation with Denise and Danielle, don't worry. Thanks to our online friends, you all can catch the replay right after we go off the air. The link is already available through our social media sites. So head over to facebook.com/CyrusWebb or go over to twitter.com/CyrusWebb. If you click on the link there, you can listen to the show completely for free and share it with your friends from there, too. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. You all make it a great one.